What's going on, guys? Apathetic here, and today we are talking about Bad Juju, an exotic pulse rifle from D1 that's made its way into Destiny 2. So we'll cover the perks on this weapon, how it compares to other pulses, and lastly discuss, is Bad Juju good in the Crucible? Let's get into it. Bad Juju is a 450 RPM lightweight frame exotic pulse rifle, and jumping right into the perks, this bad boy comes with hammerforged rifling for that plus 10 range, steady rounds which gives a nice boost to stability, hipfire grip, like why? I don't know why that perk's on there, and short action stock which gives us a plus 15 to handling. When looking at the stats, the one thing this weapon suffers from is lack of range. With a range stat of what I consider a measly 46, you will definitely notice when going against other pulse rifles like Blast Furnace. And for perspective, I have a Blast Furnace with a range stat of 98, so more than double that of my Bad Juju, or even against a hand cannon like Ace with a range of 86. And I know you guys are hearing me discuss these range stats and you may think this weapon isn't good for Crucible, but don't get ahead of me. Now, one thing that makes this weapon feel so crispy is that stability. With a stability of 79 in a recoil direction of 85, you won't have any issues controlling this weapon, and I know especially for my console players, that stability is always welcome. Throwing in a handling stat of 60 with a relatively low zoom, and this weapon aims well and feels relatively snappy. Now, what makes this weapon truly special is its exotic perk String of Curses. Kills refill the magazine, increase damage for a short duration, and grant super energy based on the strength of String of Curses. Fires full auto. Now, this perk is pretty nice because it really is one of the first exotics that for my warlock I felt like I could take off my transversive steps, and that's because of that auto reload part of the perk. It really useful for stringing those kills together. It allows you to stay engaged because you don't need to pull away to reload as often because it refills the entire magazine. Something else I underestimated about Bad Juju is how much I appreciate full auto. It makes this weapon feel like it fires so quickly, and as I mentioned, the range on this weapon isn't great, but when it's in that optimal range with full auto, this thing absolutely shreds. Getting into that increased super energy, and I know what you're thinking, man, that's just what Destiny needed, something to help me get my super back even quicker. Well, I wouldn't worry too much because I've had all the super mods someone could have equipped, and I'll admit with Bad Juju I could get my super a tad bit quicker, but it wasn't anything too crazy. The same cannot be said for PvE. I think for PvE, the super regeneration on this weapon is going to be huge for a lot of players, but that's going to be mainly PvE. If you're in this video, you know we're just talking about PvP. Getting into how this weapon compares against other pulse rifles, we kind of discussed this earlier. When it comes to something like Blast Furnace, it's really going to be outclassed in the range category. And the same goes for a weapon like Bygones or even Outbreak Perfected, which is another great handling exotic pulse rifle. But does that mean Bad Juju is bad in the Crucible? I mean, it's not bad. The thing is with Bad Juju, I honestly didn't really notice the exotic perk all that much. Yes, having the full auto feature was nice, but ultimately I did find myself occasionally getting outgunned by weapons like Ace of Spades or Austringer or higher range pulse rifles like Blast Furnace whenever I got outside of Bad Juju's optimal range. But when inside this weapon's optimal range, I think I prefer it to the other pulse rifles mentioned. I had some nice success against opponents with this weapon at close range. Now, don't take that bias as to use this weapon at close range, but when you think about it, how many maps really utilize the range of a weapon like Blast Furnace? Not many. Most maps are relatively close to medium range, which plays right into Bad Juju's hand. So for me, if I'm gonna use a pulse, I prefer Juju unless it's a very long range map like Equinox, which, let's be honest, is a terrible map anyway. Honestly, guys, my overall feel for this weapon is that's going to be amazing in PvE, and since from what I read, the super regeneration is just insane, and there's a lot of nice builds you can do for that super regeneration in PvE. For PvP, I can see a lot of people still leaning towards other pulse rifles, but for people like myself who are looking to change things up, Bad Juju is a nice alternative. I think if String of Curses had a nice little damage buff, that was a little bit higher in PvP, this weapon would be a lot more popular because of the increase in lethality. But let me know in the comments below, are you guys going to be choosing Bad Juju over other pulse rifles in PvP? I'll be interested to hear your thoughts, see if the Bad Juju can replace your guys' Blast Furnace. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoy, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Zone C lost. Zone A captured. have advantage. Zone A lost. Double down. Zone B. You have zone advantage. What can stop you if you fight together? Nothing. Call the Praxic Order, call the Anathemats, the Jinsen Scribes, call everyone so they can witness you. 3 minutes. It's close. Zone C lost. Zone A captured. You have advantage. Only 1 minute left. Zone A captured. You have zone advantage. 30 seconds remaining. Zone B lost. It's all or nothing. You look death in his beady eyes and you spat in them.
Perfect, 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 perfect.